They pulled her from the ruins, barely alive, her blue skin torn and burned, her royal insignia clutched tight in a bloodied hand. Her people were gone, her world turned to ash, her horns cracked, her voice silent. The galaxy moved on without her, all except one human. He didn't want her crown. He didn't want her secrets. He just stayed, listened, waited. And when she finally looked him in the eyes, she realized something more terrifying than loss. Someone still saw her as worthy of love. And that was how the last heir rose, not to rule, but to rebuild everything that was broken. They found her in the ruins of a glass city, buried beneath scorched stone and twisted steel, barely breathing. She had crawled into the shadows after the sky fell, after the missiles screamed through the clouds and turned her people's final refuge into a crater. Her skin was coated in ash and blood, some hers, some not. Her long, glowing white hair was tangled with metal splinters. Her elegant horns were cracked at the edges, one visibly scorched. Her thick thighs and strong arms trembled with every breath as she clutched the crystal shard of her family's insignia against her chest. The med-drone scanned her. No life signs expected. But there she was, barely clinging on, blue skin riddled with burns and cuts, her short ceremonial robe nearly shredded off her curvy frame. Her ears, long cornered, trembling, twitched faintly when the drone's light touched her face. They rushed her aboard the human relief vessel, thinking she was just another lost one. But she wasn't. She was the last living daughter of the fallen royal bloodline of Calzirith, a species once proud, now extinct, wiped out in the final orbital barrage. And the only one who knew what that meant was the human xenolinguist assigned to process her, Elias Ward. He saw the mark on the crystal and froze. Not because he feared her, but because he had studied their songs, their treaties, their final desperate transmissions before the fall. And now, one of them lay breathing in his arms, barely holding together. She didn't speak for days. The burns across her body healed fast. Her species always had accelerated regenerative tissue, but the look in her eyes didn't. It was the look of someone who had lost not just a home, but a whole civilization. He called her Lyrian, after the title etched on the shard she clutched. Lyrian Kala, meaning last flame. She never corrected him. She never spoke at all. Just watched, wide, haunted eyes, pale lips pressed silent as he bandaged her. He never pried. He never flinched when she panicked. He let her curl into the blankets on the medbay cot, her powerful legs pulled tight beneath her, her arms gripping the only piece of her world that remained. One night she woke screaming, dreaming of fire, and found herself in his arms. She fought, elbows, claws, teeth, but he didn't strike back. Just held her steady, whispered, "You're safe now." Again and again until her body went still. And she cried. Not soft tears, racking sobs that left her gasping, her forehead against his chest. The next day, she whispered her real name, Sayavira. From that moment, she changed. Not instantly, not completely, but with a slow, fragile courage. She let him teach her Terran standard. She asked what happened to the galaxy. She listened when he told her the truth, how her people had refused surrender, how the humans weren't the ones who struck first, but they had struck last. She hated that, but not him. One evening, she asked if he knew the Calzirith morning rites. He said yes. So he helped her build a pyre in the observation deck, holographic, simulated, but it was enough. She wore a rebuilt version of her royal combat attire, short, dark crimson armor pieces molded to her body, reinforced at the hips and shoulders, her legs bare save for battle wraps, her chest plate tight across her curves. Her long white hair flowed behind her like starlight as she stood before the projection of her lost city. And for the first time, she sang. Not to mourn, she said, but to remember. Her voice broke halfway. Elias stepped beside her, silent. She finished the last note with her hand over her heart, and tears in her eyes. Now, she said, I bury them. And I breathe. From that night forward, she trained again. Her body recovered fast. She was fast, terrifyingly graceful, and strong enough to lift metal crates with ease. But what startled the others wasn't her strength, it was her grief. Her silence. Her dignity. Her scars. She wasn't royalty anymore. She was the last broken heir to nothing, and yet she stood taller than any soldier. Elias remained by her side. Not to lead, but to stand with her. He never touched her unless she asked. But one night, after a near-panic attack in the oxygen corridor, she grabbed his wrist and didn't let go. You're the only one who looks at me like I'm still someone, she said. That's because you are, he replied. She kissed him that night, soft, trembling, unsure, but real. And when he kissed her back, her long ears twitched against his jaw, and her horns brushed his forehead like a blessing. They shared a room after that. No one said anything. Everyone knew. She wore simpler clothes, still tight, still practical, black shorts, a sleeveless top that hugged her waist, boots that clicked when she walked. Her scars were visible. Her gaze was sharper, and her presence made people pause, not in fear, but in reverence. Months later, a signal came, an outpost under siege by rogue slavers using old Calzirith tech. The humans prepared to intervene. Sayavira asked to go first. Alone? Elias asked. No, she said. With you. They dropped into fire, again. But this time, she wasn't the one crawling from ruins. She was the one pulling others out. Her blades moved like lightning, her curved horns gleamed with heat, and her eyes, once broken, burned with vengeance and clarity. When the dust settled, survivors knelt before her. Your flame didn't die, one whispered. It waited. She didn't take the throne they offered. She didn't rebuild a monarchy. She built a hall, in neutral space, a refuge. Not just for her kind. For any broken survivor who thought they were alone. And when she stood beside Elias, hand in hand, head held high, she wasn't a lost heir anymore. She was the queen of those who crawled out of fire and kept walking. The last of her bloodline, but the first of something greater.